Did Perestroika lead to the end of the Warsaw Pact? Imagine a time when the Soviet Union was trying to modernize its economy and politics. That effort was called Perestroika, which means restructuring. It was launched by Mikhail Gorbachev in the mid-1980s. The goal was to make the Soviet system more open and efficient. Gorbachev also introduced glasnost, or openness, encouraging more freedom of speech and transparency. These reforms aimed to fix the Soviet Union's many problems, but they also changed how the Soviet Union interacted with its allies. Perestroika started to weaken the control the Soviet Union had over Eastern Europe. Countries in the Eastern Bloc had been under Soviet influence since the late 1940s. They were part of the Warsaw Pact, a military alliance created in 1955 to counter NATO and keep Soviet dominance. As Gorbachev's reforms took hold, these countries began to see new possibilities. They wanted more independence and started pushing for political change. By 1989, a wave of revolutions swept across Eastern Europe. Countries like Poland, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, East Germany, Romania, and Bulgaria saw their communist governments fall. These nations no longer wanted to be part of the Soviet-led bloc. They sought democracy and economic reforms. The Soviet Union's influence was shrinking as these countries moved away from Moscow's control. The Warsaw Pact itself was losing its purpose. It was meant to be a military alliance to defend Soviet interests, but with the rise of independence movements, it became less relevant. The alliance's member states began to withdraw. The pact was officially dissolved in 1991 after the Soviet Union itself collapsed. The weakening of Soviet authority, driven partly by Gorbachev's reforms, made the alliance impossible to sustain. From the Soviet perspective, Perestroika was an effort to save socialism by making it more adaptable. But in reality, it accelerated the decline of Soviet control over its allies. The reforms exposed systemic issues within the communist system and made it clear that the old model was no longer workable. The end of the Warsaw Pact was a direct result of these changes. It marked the end of an era and the beginning of new political paths for Eastern Europe. So, in simple terms, yes, Perestroika played a big role in leading to the end of the Warsaw Pact. It loosened Soviet grip, encouraged political liberalization, and revealed the weaknesses of the communist bloc. All these factors combined to bring about the alliance's dissolution in 1991.